Hey, good morning. On April 28, 1967, Muhammad Ali refused to be drafted to the military to fight in the Vietnam War. Here's why.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor, hungry people in the mud for big, powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality, raped and killed my mother and father. What, I'm going to shoot them for what? How am I going to shoot them? Them little poor little black people, little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail.
When further pressed about why he wouldn't defend a country who's done so much for him, he said this.
I'm saying you talking about me about some draft, and all of you white boys are breaking your neck to get to Switzerland and Canada and London. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
And those same feelings are felt today when we tell you that our black lives matter too, and you tell us no. All lives matter, when historically, all lives have not mattered in this country. You've shown us that Chinese lives didn't matter in this country, Japanese lives didn't matter in this country, indigenous lives didn't matter in this country, and black lives damn sure didn't matter in this country. You passed a law making us 3/5 of a person, relegating us to little more than a handkerchief or a useful tool, and then have the unmitigated gall to say we should be grateful and thankful that we're here, and if we don't like it, we could leave. You was our ride. But on April 28, 1967, Muhammad Ali refused to be drafted into the military. That happened on this day in history.
Good evening, and thank you for joining me with Conversations with Taz. And yes, we're going to be a little bit more relaxed tonight because we're going to get all the way into it tonight, okay? We're going to be blessed. We're going to have a blessed day today. And to piggyback off of that, yes, for all the racist yeast yetty-yardigans, palm-colored patriots, cum-colored comrades, you always tell us to go back where we came from. You snatched us from where we came from, erased the records, and continue to keep the records and just pass them down generation to generation through your family. So where are we supposed to go? And like that brother said, you were our ride. You tossed the keys into the lake a long time ago. How very Kennedy of you. How very Chappaquiddick of you. You allowed us to drown and thought that we would just somehow be eliminated from history if you kept pushing forward a certain narrative. And let me segue this because a lot of y'all still don't believe that white privilege is real. Now, some of y'all know, some of y'all may not know why Sharon Osbourne was released from the show The Talk. But she is still trying to use her white woman tears, whether verbally or in actuality. She is still trying to center herself in this and victimize herself. So coming from Newsbreak.com, Sharon Osbourne calls out cancel culture hypocrisy. If Hitler were alive today, they would give him a TV show. You were called out for your microaggressions, misogyny, racism, and tone deafness and removed from a show because of it. But yeah, let's act like the whole world is behind the ideologies of Hitler. But I digress. Let's go on. Urbane. Don't make me make you homeless tonight. I done told you your mama is black. Keep trying this white shit. Your new residence will be the SPCA. Quit playing with me. I digress. So, further context comes from popcrush.com. Oh, I gotta blow this up. I got glasses. Y'all know I can't see. So let me expand this article so I can see it. Last month, it was revealed that Sharon Osbourne will be turning to television, partnered with Piers Morgan. Of course. Racist loves to keep racist company, but let's keep going. On a new UK series named The Talk. Oh yeah, let's play semantics so people think that is the original The Talk. But okay. This comes nearly a year after Osbourne was suspended and eventually exited the US talk show The Talk after expressing her support for Morgan in an intense discussion over race with co-host Cheryl Underwood. And for those of you that don't know, Cheryl Underwood is black. She blackity black, blackity blackity black, unapologetically black. Argue with your bestie, argue with your mama, argue with the God that you pray to. Now, in a new interview with UK's Sunday Times, Osbourne reveals how cancel culture impacted her as she eventually parted ways with her longtime daytime talk series amidst public backlash. The debate started during a March 2021 episode shortly after Oprah Winfrey's broadcast interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. We remember that. Morgan had been on air with Good Morning Britain the following day and walked out of an interview when questioned about previous statements about the actress that were deemed to have racial tones. Oh, they were racist. They didn't have racial tones. They were unapologetically in your face racist. Let's call a spade a spade. But let's keep going. During the talk segment about Morgan and Markle, Osbourne revealed that while she did not agree with Morgan's opinion, she asked her co-host to explain the racial undertones of Morgan's comments. This is why we said we don't have any allies as black people. After the heated exchange took place on set, the show went on hiatus, while deciding how to proceed moving forward. If the tables would have been turned, there would have been no hiatus. The black co-host would have just been fired and they would have moved on like nothing ever happened and would have replaced that black co-host with a melanin deficient co-host. And that would have just been that. And we all know that. We all know that. So you say something wrong, you're not threatening somebody, but you say something wrong, you're out. You are out, she said. The CBS internal investigation claimed that there was no setup that occurred. Baby girl, you didn't just say something that was wrong. You doubled down on it after claiming that you just wanted to be informed. When you were informed and educated, you pushed back on a black woman and you pushed back with microaggressions. Try me. You pushed back with microaggressions that were so epic. You cannot blame cancel culture. No, I'm tired of people using the term cancel culture to try to escape accountability. You were held accountable for your racism. And don't say that you're not racist, Sharon. We know who you raised. And I am old enough, excuse me, to remember when your daughter, when she thought that she was being helpful to Mexican immigrants, and immigration laws going, who's going to clean your house? Who's going to clean your bathroom? Where do you think she learned that from? Where did she learn that from, Sharon? Where did she learn it from, Sharon? It's not cancel culture. It's called accountability for your actions. The consequences of your actions chased you down and bit you in the ass. And that's why the only place it's going to take you is someplace where the racist that you were defending is going to be your co-host, and you are going to co-opt the name of the show that you sat on with women of color, Asian women, black women. Come on now. You knew what you did was wrong, but okay, let's play stupid. But let's go to the next clip.
This is a very rare Tuesday Banana Shirt Good News Only update. The Brooklyn Public Library has a new initiative called Books Unbanned. They are allowing anyone 13 to 21 years old, regardless of where they live in the United States, to get a free Brooklyn Public Library card. That book gives you access to the library's full catalog of digital and audiobooks, and you can take out as many as you want, as many times as you want. So if a book you want to read has been banned in your school or your town's library, you can head on over to bklynlibrary.org and get your free library card. I freaking love libraries.
Just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be.
One, shout out to that library to not go down the slippery slope of fascism. 2, let me add on to what that gentleman was saying, and that's an excerpt from, I believe, a movie or TV show. The United States is also number 1 in taking the name of of 2 continents and applying it to themselves, but getting upset that other people use it. So if you're one of those people that are willing to refer to Elon Musk as African American, do not get mad when a Canadian, a Mexican, a Venezuelan, a Brazilian, and I can go on, refers to themselves as American, because they reside on the continents of North and South America. So technically, since you call yourselves American, they can too. I said what I said. Argue with your mamas and your daddies. If your daddy didn't slip out for Oh, here's the thing, Dion. The party that says that they are for small government, minimal government, they keep backing bills that further impeach on people and increase government reach. They keep voting against their own best interest. And they do epic mental gymnastics to make it okay. It will forever baffle me. But they say that we melanated people are stupid. That's why I'm done trying to save them. I'm not playing Captain Save-A-Hole to a bunch of dumb motherfuckers. Well, let's go to the next clip.
White people don't make no sense. I'm here trying to gear myself up and hype myself up to go up into work. And so I thought I'd put on some of my lip gloss. This is my Morphe one. Tastes like sour babies. I'm sitting here rubbing my lips together and I'm like, well, shit, I ain't hardly got no lips. And from what I've seen out here in these streets, I actually got kind of a decent pair. Some white folks just smile and the whole thing goes away. I'm like, well, shit, I didn't mean to scare it and make it run off looking at me like this. And I'm just like, who decided we were the ones? Most of us out here ain't got lips, little eyes, no cheekbones, no curves. I mean, y'all ever kissed a not white person? I have, many times. And I like kissing an upper lip. I like cheekbones. You ever seen a Latina in her 50s look like she's in her 30s? Because I know for a damn fact you've seen a white woman in her 30s look like she's in her 50s. Half the time, white folks hit 30 and they lose their damn chins. Just up and lose them. I mean, I ain't trying to make nobody mad, but, I mean, shit. A lot of us out here looking like bony-ass meat sacks to me. Who decided we were the elite? On behalf of white folks, I want to apologize to everyone because we must be a deluded bunch because we done convinced ourselves a whole ass lie. I mean, this one really don't make no sense to me. I'm over here feeling ugly.
I mean, white people are the genetic mutations of the world. That's a scientific fact. Don't believe me? Y'all know where y'all can look it up at. I tell y'all every other day on these podcasts. Do what you got to do. If you're going to be a keyboard warrior, be a keyboard researcher. But I was talking to someone, I don't want to just call them a friend. They're more of a confidant. Where I was talking about a variety of white women that I've met that while pregnant, it seemed like everything was drained out of them. And they had pains and aches and issues that myself and other people had never heard of before that seemed to be just central to white women. Almost as if they weren't built to procreate. And I'm not being funny. But there's some white women that have a glow when they're pregnant. There's some white women that get so pale and look like everything has just been drained out of their system, where you're legitimately concerned for their life. You don't know if they are going to survive this. Where it really looks like they're carrying around a parasite. But he's not wrong. How are you calling yourself superior? Where even when you stole black people, while you convinced your descendants that we were selling each other, nah, tell them about the mercenaries that you hired to come steal us. Tell us about the fact that the first slaves to land on in the United States came from a ship that you pirated. And those slaves were not sold into slavery by black people. Not at all. Not at all. But y'all keep pushing forward that narrative. You couldn't translate for yourself. And when black people have so much pushback for coons, this is why. Because during the era of chattel slavery, where a Portuguese prince wanted to impress his Portuguese king father, like, oh, I can make sure your legacy goes on forever. This is what he introduced. And there was a coon who wrote a book denouncing the fact that his education came from his African heritage. He was already educated and highly revered before white people got a hold of him. But he didn't want to admit that. He did it for the sake of salvation, and he had got comfortable in his position there because he forgot his former position that was higher than where he was then. Let me repeat that so you all can understand coons better. He got comfortable in the position that he was in because he forgot the position that he was in previously that was higher than the hold on. Yeah, and I ain't taking that muzzle off his damn face. Hold on. He done lost his damn mind. Play with me if you want to, little boy. Yeah, you done wished him an escape. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's just go to the next clip.
How do we define critical race theory? What is that?
Well, I'm glad you started with that, because the people who have made such an issue of this thing called critical race theory, and the people in the Tennessee legislature who have seen fit to quote unquote ban it, clearly have never answered or even asked that question, let alone really come to the answers. They've caricatured it and misrepresented what it is. So critical race theory is basically a theoretical school of thought that developed within the legal discipline, within the law, among law professors, to sort of analyze the questions about why, in spite of the progress of the civil rights movement, why, in spite of the formal legal victories of the 1960s, why, in spite of formal equal opportunity, as a result of those victories, there was still such profound inequality in the labor market, in housing, in schools, in the justice system, et cetera. And they were asking that question. That's the same question, by the way, that conservatives want to know and that regular, mainstream liberals want to know. They just answer the question differently. Critical race theory fundamentally says that the reason we still have such profound racial disparity in this country, white families with 12 times the net worth of black families on average, for instance, is that racism and racial inequality has been so embedded in the structure of the society from the beginning that formal equal opportunity is not enough to create real equity or equal protection of the law. Now, one is free to disagree with that argument, and there's lots of great discussions that people can have about it, but that is literally the primary sort of building block of critical race theory, is the notion that inequality in this country is not an accident, and it's not just the result of, we haven't quite been able to figure out how to fix it. Critical race theory says inequality was the point from the beginning, that we were actually a nation founded with liberty and justice for some, not for all. And both the history and the sociology and the legal analysis justify that argument. That is what critical race theory really is. Right. Not a lot of the stuff that the lawmakers say, which is, it thinks white people are inherently racist or bigoted. That's not part of critical race theory, or that certain groups are inferior or superior morally to others based on race. That's not part of critical race theory. It is literally just a way of looking at inequality and trying to answer, why do we still have so much of it?
Okay, before I get into this, DMAC, you walked into Sir Pupper's Urbane Fontaine getting out of his muzzle and me having to chase him down, and luckily he is back in his muzzle. Two, Dub cannot be mad about Bridgerton regarding me or you, because we told him. So now that he is hooked, line and sinker. That's not our fault. But I will say that I'm glad that white people are finally explaining to other white people what CRT is, because I'm so over the disinformation and the plight to dismantle disinformation always being put on the communities that are marginalized even further by the disinformation. Like, what are you afraid of? You're proud to retell these stories from your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents. You are so proud to get on the internet and go, I come from this ancestry. Then let us teach about it. Let us finally teach that Vikings, that's an occupation. It is not an ethnicity. It is not a nationality. It is not a race. It is an occupation. Imagine 100 years from now, your descendants going, Well, I was a cat. My granddaddy was a cabbie. My daddy was a cabbie. We could do this. We could appropriate all of your culture because we had that same culture. He was a cabbie. See how dumb that fucking sounds? That's what people sound like when they go, well, Vikings did this. I'm a descendant from Vikings. You were a descendant from an occupation? My mother was an international textile sales rep. You don't hear me out in these mean streets going, I can do what I want because I'm a descendant of a textile sales rep. Yeah, I can appropriate every culture because my mama went around the globe to get textiles. Yeah, boy. That shit would sound stupid. You would stop me in my fucking tracks. So stop with the Viking shit. Vikings was not an ethnicity. Vikings was not a nationality. Vikings was not a race. Vikings was a occupation. Ugh! Y'all keep doing mental gymnastics to try to be oppressed. But you don't even know how to properly look. The school systems have failed y'all so fucking bad because a lot of y'all, and I learned this from first-hand knowledge, your mamas was doing your homework. And your mamas wasn't even educated. I've met mothers. Some of the most racist mothers. They're like, I don't know why my child dropped out of college. I was doing their homework. Bitch, they didn't drop out. They got kicked out. You dumb as shit. I swear for God, some of y'all. You know what? I'm gonna leave the articles alone for right now. Let's go through the rest of these videos. Let's get it.
The real reason why the GOP is trying to censor public education. They are terrified of Generation Z.
School had to watch out today because of the Don't Say Gay bill in XL, and this is how it went.
Last year, states introduced over 130 bills to prevent students from learning about sexuality, gender identity, and the systemic racism in our nation's history. Red states are throwing the kitchen sink at educators, hotlines, cameras in classrooms, and recently book bans. Why? Because the biggest threat facing the Republican Party is a multiracial democracy of people unafraid to speak truth to power. That's Generation Z. By 2028, millennials and Gen Zs will dominate U.S. elections. They'll have the power to wipe out the old guard and usher in a wave of progressive policies. Most Gen Zers are progressive and pro-government, and they see the country's growing racial and ethnic diversity as a good thing, and only a fraction of them have reached voting age, which is why the GOP is trying to suppress K-12 education now. That's what's really at stake here. It's up to all of us to ensure that the next generations learn the full truth about our nation's past and build a multiracial coalition powerful enough to enact transformative change.
Normally, I do not disagree with Mr. Robert. Normally, I don't. But here's the thing. Y'all keep forgetting about us Generation Xers, the forgotten generation. Gen Z is just a resurgence of us with white people added on to it. I grew up in this generation. We protested all the time, but because we were predominantly black and brown, nobody took us seriously. And y'all keep forgetting about us when you talk about the generations. Just like he did in this clip. We are the first. I don't give a fuck. We gonna flip everything over in this bitch generation. We are the ones that initiated this shit. We're the ones that were both birthed by boomers. Even though they're trying to have a micro generation added to the boomer set, they still have the same basic course, and they still body shamed us for a multitude of reasons. Because as much as I love my mother, the mental and emotional shit she did to me, oh baby, no. Oh baby, no. That was 100% boomer shit that was indoctrinated into her because the previous generation put it into her. Because you have two generations that people are not ready to have the conversation about, that they didn't actually raise their children. They got their children to raise their children and then shamed their children for exhibiting the same things that they exhibited, for having the same needs that they did, for being human the same way that they were human. So these newer generations, they're not fed up just because. They're fed up because we birthed them. We raised them. They were in the house with us when we were creating petitions and protests. When we were out in the streets and had them in strollers. That's why this last generation they're afraid of. And they're more afraid of this generation than my generation because there's more white kids joining in. There's more white kids waking up. Let's be real. Because they wouldn't be talking about this generation if white faces weren't involved. Don't believe me? Argue with your best friend, argue with your mama, argue with your daddy. Shit, argue with your spiritual advisor. I don't give a damn. Just don't argue with me, because facts are facts. But let's keep rolling.
We don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. Whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
Y'all wonder why we keep saying defund the police. They're not here to protect and serve. They want additional accolades for just fulfilling their job description. We're supposed to give people participation trophies for doing what they signed up for. And we're supposed to just tout them as heroes for doing what the fuck they signed up for. But they're saying the quiet part out loud. Save the taxpayers' money. Kill your fellow citizen. But here's the caveat. Be white while you're doing it. Let's move on. Actually, let's go to this month's ad. I'll see y'all in 2 and 2. Oh, Jesus.
We don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer.
Yeah, so this is Rich. You know when things are getting really rough for you? When you're Laura Ingram, an internationally known...
Doesn't have a license, and he's not covered on my insurance.
You know
so
him.
I'm
You've
about
been
to be
with him
out
for 10 years.
$22,000 over that truck
Correct.
because you let him drive away without a license.
I did not know he didn't have a driver's license.
Why wouldn't you
Okay.
check? Why wouldn't you
We
ask
don't
for a
check
license?
everybody for a driver's license when they leave their vehicle.
He doesn't even have an ID.
You've been with him for 2 years, and now you're upset.
And
You
now
want
it's my
me-
fault.
I didn't say it was your fault, but you want me to come here and settle 10 years of issues.
I don't want you to settle 10 years
You
of
do.
issues. I want you to settle him choking me out in front of my 2-year-old this morning. And if CPS were involved right now, I would be...
Okay, put down your phone. I'll just take you to jail, and I'll write the police report.
I'm not saying I want to go to jail. That's not what I'm saying.
No, because now that's where we're going. Now you forced me to take
Please
action.
don't do that. I'm
But
not-
now you have forced me to take action, so that's what we're going to do.
Please
I'm
don't,
going to
ma'am.
arrest you.
Ma'am.
I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm going to arrest you.
Seriously.
I'm going to read the report. Your dad is here.
Please stop.
He can watch the
Seriously,
kids.
please
no,
don't
please
take
turn
me to
around,
jail
put your hands
for
behind.
this. Please
turn around,
don't.
put your hands behind your back.
She's arresting me, Nana and Papa!
As many of you all hang on the edge of your seats watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, keep in mind, this is why the vast majority of us do not report abuse. Because when you do, either something like this happens with the police because they fucked up, or, like in my situation, you have people who decide to use your trauma for clout, for clicks, to get into organizations that they couldn't get into on their own accord. And they want to paint you as a liar and watch everything that you do for over a year and take things out of context as if your platforms don't stand and you don't delete anything. And if people were given the proper information, they could come back and watch. But I don't just fault them. Because another reason people like me rarely, if ever, report, it's not just the people who start the rumors, that arrest us, that start the smear campaigns, that, oh, my son would never, oh, my daughter would never, oh, they so benevolent, they the best thing ever. Da, 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 da. It's the people who choose to believe them with no evidence. Like somebody could just be like, well, you know, I know she going through what she going through, but sis, 2 years ago on a Tuesday, she said your nail polish was ugly. Really? So she was out in these streets talking about me? Yeah, girl, she was talking about you. Oh, I'm done with her. I'm cutting her off from the top to the bottom. I ain't never talking to her again. You shouldn't. You should ride with me. Yeah, girl, I ride with you. 1 month later, I can't stand you, bitch. You lying. What the fuck? You knew I was a liar. You knew I lied about your homegirl. And you was riding with me. But bitch, now you lying about me. What the fuck? I roll with you. Why you lying about me now? I'm not lying about you. What I'm saying is true. But ain't nobody gonna believe that it's true because I'm gonna tell them you a liar. But you was just backing me last month. How they gonna believe you a liar? And that I'm a liar? Like, the fuck? Like, make it make sense. I've already established myself with these people. And even while I told you that I was believing what you were saying, I was telling them you was a liar. So wait a minute. While you were saying publicly you didn't back this person and that nobody should back them and we should get them banned and we should just destroy their whole lives while we both know they're going through a tragedy, you were telling people behind the scenes that I was lying so they know this person is going through a tragedy and y'all still let them go through this shit? But I'm the villain? Yeah, bitch, you the villain because publicly, I'm clear. Bitch, how you clear publicly? My complexion, bitch. And that's how it goes. Tale as old as time. Tale is old as fucking time. Think I'm lying? if somebody is always ingrained in mess, and in 1 month they're believed in, oh yeah, believe everything they got to say, then the next month, this motherfucker a liar, everything they come, then why are you still believing the shit that they said prior? Why? If they can send you snippets of something that there is a full link to, why are you believing them? If they say they cut themselves off from somebody, but they're still watching that person a whole year later and telling you that person's every move, why are you still believing them? Because the innocent party does not have to watch the guilty. The guilty will tell on themselves. You ain't got to watch them. If I decide somebody has done me dirty and I cut them out of my life, I'm not watching every move they make. I don't give a fuck. They gonna live whatever life they live. I'm gonna live whatever life I live. I ain't gotta watch what the fuck they do. I refuse to let anybody live in my head rent free. The only people who get to live in my head rent free are my children. You understand me? My children get to live rent free in my life because I brought them into this world. So they will forever be rent free in my life. You understand me? Do you understand me? And let me also say this and make this very, very, very clear. Because right now I am seeing all over social media, there is an attack, especially on Black women. Number one, y'all need to check what y'all are calling proof. Because you're sitting here saying, somebody going, sis, she was talking about you. And you're like, oh, fuck it. I got to cut her up. Let me call my friends and tell my friends to cut her up. Because someone I have never talked to, never put any credence into, previously said, didn't have any credibility ever in my life, just decided to call and tell me that somebody that I've been through some shit with, I done told some shit to, that has never seen the light of fucking day, has been talking about me. Let me cut them off and get everybody else to cut them off. That is some fucking Are you 5? Are you 5? Because I know y'all done sat back and watched all the motherfuckers that came to you and was like, oh, she said this, she did this, she did that, he did this, he did that, they did this, they did this, they did that, they do this. Now you seeing them in all sorts of beats with people who previously backed them and told them, oh yeah, they the truth, they the truth, they the truth. Now all of a sudden, oh no, they a liar, they a liar, they a liar. Oh, they obsessed, they obsessed, they obsessed. They full of shit, they full of shit, they full of shit. So how were they honest with the first person? And what evidence did you see? Let me guess. Some text messages that were ambiguous that you have no idea what was being talked about. And let me also guess that you're going to pretend that you have not reached out to a friend or friends to vent, to say, you know what? This been a fucked up day. I don't want to deal with nobody. I'm tired of everybody's shit. Ain't nobody got to talk to me. Fuck this shit. Everybody want to talk about accountability. Don't nobody want to take accountability. I don't want to deal with nobody. Because here's a little nugget I never told y'all about my incident. My incident started because I didn't want to keep talking to a certain person who everybody keeps protecting and keeping in the dark about my trauma. She made jokes about my trauma, wants to keep asking me about my trauma, want to put me in uncomfortable spaces. And when I finally said, I don't want to talk about this no more. But if you want to keep doing epic reaches, breaking your back to include me and shit that I ain't got nothing to do with, explain to the world how you knew that I was doxxed, but you contacted everybody but me. Be blessed. Oh.